I'm going to show you how to make the template sketch without having the template. It looks difficult, but I promise it's not that hard. So the first thing we can do is we can cut out this larger piece of background paper. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The tools you're going to need, a pencil and a ruler, and then your 12-inch trimmer would be very helpful. So what you want to do is first we want to cut out the triangles. So we're going to cut out about a 4 1/4 inch triangle. So I'm going to measure, and I'm going to actually flip my paper over so I can see it a little bit better, see my markings. I'm going to do 4 1/4, and I'm going to just mark it at the very end here on both sides so that I know where to trim it. And you don't have to use 4 1/4, you can use any length that you want. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line those lines up on my trimmer. And if you have the 12-inch trimmer, it's really great to use, there's my line, with the sight guides. So these little sight guides will come out top and bottom, and you can make sure that the lines cover, the sight guide lines just cover your little mark before you cut your corner. So now you've got a corner. Now you could go ahead and measure on each side, but just for time saving, I like to just flip mine over so I can have some contrast, and I'll hold it and line it up and do kind of the same thing. Again, you can totally measure it if you want. So if I put this down, I'm going to use my sight guides to make sure that the line in the guide is all the way straight where the triangle is going to be. I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. If you can't find your sight guides, just know sometimes they're kind of stuck at the top or bottom, or they could be stuck where your cartridge is. So you just have to use your fingernail and pull it out. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put mine, I'm just going to go ahead and start my layout on the back of one of the paper packaging, because I know it's photo safe, and I'm just going to lay it up here. It makes a great piece of background white cardstock. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over my triangles. So that I have my triangles there, okay? All right, so that's done there. Now, the next thing I did following the sketch is there's a little piece of paper on the side. So all I did was I went ahead and trimmed a piece about 2 2/4. I'm using my trimmer. Again, you do not have to follow this exact measurements. And then all you have to do is just slide it under. Slide it under your triangles. Now, if you wanted to save a little bit of that paper that you're not using, you could definitely cut a little bit off of one side. So since it was 2 2/4, I'm just going to cut the same at 2 2/4 just once on both of those strips, so I have 2 starting squares. And then I can still slide this under so that it doesn't show the edges. And the same on this side. And then now I have 2 of my starting squares that goes with this sketch, so I could put them on the sides for now. So now I will want to do the inside, which have the little flags. So if I'm looking at the sketch, I want to do these inside pieces. And that's what I did here, these inside pieces. So because we don't have the template, that's still okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to cut another strip. And this time we're going to do about 3 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my trimmer. I'm going to cut a strip. And then we're going to want to have those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my paper in half. And that's okay if there's a crease, it just adds a little pop. So I have folded my paper in half so I know that it's halfway. Now what I'm going to do is use my trimmer and I'm going to line up my paper on the 45-degree angle. And I'm going to trim that first part. Now I want to make sure I use the sight guides that are here because I want to make sure I'm cutting that exactly where the corner is. So that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Okay, and this part I'm not going to use. Now I want to take my ruler and I'm going to go ahead and keep that like 2 1/4 inch measurement. And I'm just going to measure all the way down on this strip. So I'm going to do 2 1/4 and then I'm going to make a little mark. And I'm going to do that all the way down. Okay, so now I have 4 different marks right there. I'm going to take my trimmer again and I'm going to still keep my paper on this 45-degree angle. But now I'm going to move it up so that the first mark I have on the paper is going to be where it's going to cut. So again, I'm going to pull out my sight guides and I see I need to pull it up just a bit. Remember to keep your paper at the 45-degree angle. So my sight guide line goes right over my marking and I'm going to cut it. And then you can see I've made my flag, my banner. But I'm going to keep going and cut all the rest of them. Again, using my sight guides because I want to make sure I get it right. And I'm just pushing my paper up, keeping it on the angle. Using my sight guide, there's some at the top and the bottom. And then we've got one more. If you can't find your sight guide, it might be hiding, so you want to just kind of use your fingernail and pull it out. It might be hiding at the top or bottom or under your cartridge here. Okay, this piece I'm throwing away. And then I have 4 arrow banners. So we'll add those to the page. And we're almost done. So you could do either way. I really like the polka dots, so I'm going to do this way. Polka dots. And don't worry about, like I said, don't worry about the folding part, because once you stick it down, nobody's going to notice it was folded. And there's the beginning of that page. Then what we can do is add more photos. I had done the 2 1/4 inch squares, but you can add more photos all the way around, or you can do paper, and there's lots of space for photos. So here's my final sample. I printed out my photos 2 by 2 and then just added some journaling and embellishments. So I hope you learned something and have a great time making your sketch.